How expensive are bikes? And how expensive are bike parts? Depending on the brand and type of bike, some of these mobile machines are worth a fortune. The price range of some bikes shoot into a few $1,000s. What does this tell you? The security of your bike is of utmost concern. Not only are some bikes that expensive, detached parts of these items are also worth so much. As a result, you do not want to have theft experience. This stresses the need for the right lock, as well as locking the bike properly. In that light, protecting your bike means you are protecting various detachable parts of the bike from theft. The wheels, frame, seat, steering, and a host of other parts should be properly secured. If you aim to learn how to lock bikes to car rack, or how to secure the bike in general, you are at the right place. Keep watching as we discuss ways to protect your bike from theft at large. Before we discuss securing your bike to a car rack, let's identify and compare the various kinds of car-bike rack. There are three major kinds of car-bike rack. They are all placed in various positions, which justifies the names for each. There is the hitch rack, also known as the tow bar rack, the roof rack, and the trunk rack. As revealed by the name, the roof rack is stationed above the car's roof. The trunk rack is attached to parts of the car's trunk. The hitch rack is attached to the protruded hitch or tow bar of cars. We all have subjective ideas and preferences. For us, the tow bar rack stands out as the best for transporting our two-legged mobile machines. Why this choice? As compared to the roof rack, you won't go through the rooftop troubles. As the name suggests, the roof rack requires that the bike is secured to the roof. To do this, you need to get your weighty bike on the roof. You can imagine that nightmare without extra help. If you do not have a step ladder, this could be even dangerous. With the trunk and tow bar rack, you do not need to go through that stress. Also, the increased height of the vehicle with the roof rack poses a problem. Imagine driving through low-hanging branches in your car. What about those instituted barriers? Many of them are not fashioned to accommodate the bike's roof rack excesses. In plain terms, the place of a bike positioned upright on a car roof would not scale through every time. Furthermore, isn't a bike on a car top a lousy attempt to tell everyone you are a bike lover? Maybe, it could be termed as bragging about your $10,000 electric bike. Well, that may be pushing our thoughts too far. However, one thing surely sticks. The sight of a bike on a car roof isn't aesthetically appealing. It sorts of tampers with the roof design of the car. Bearing this in mind, how about the trunk versus hitch rack comparison? Both racks are situated around the same area but have different strongholds. As the name suggests, the tow bar is firmly held by the car's hitch. The protruding metal bar is formidable enough to house the rack frame. This is essentially why we prefer this option. However, the devil is also in this detail. How is this? Not every car brand or model has this feature. Originally, the protruding hitch was designed to help tow vehicles when the need arises. As trends changed, many brands have begun to perform this task in another way. For such vehicles, there is sort of a hook that can be pulled. This leaves lots of vehicles without the default ability to use the hitch rack. However, this does not stop users who are desperate to use this feature. For such people, they install an artificial hitch. While this may not be as lengthy as the usual hitch, it does the job. Now, let's talk about the trunk rack. This variety relies solely on the vehicle's trunk. As a result of the various types of car trunks, we have various products and look in this regard. For example, a salon's trunk rack will look different from a SUV's rack. There is an outstanding advantage to this bike rack frame. Most remarkably, it is mobile sensitive. If you rarely make use of the bike rack, you may want to consider this option. This is because it is easy to detach and attach. With the adjustable straps, you can take it down, as well as mount it up when required. You do not have that luxury with the other alternatives. They are firmly mounted to parts that cannot be easily maneuvered. However, the trunk rack's advantage is also slightly a tragic flaw. The detachable nature of this rack means it may not be properly secured to the car. The adjustable straps suggest that some users may not tighten the bike well enough. Worst still, a bike on this kind of rack is very vulnerable to theft. We have explained the features of the various kinds of car rack. Let's discuss how to lock your bike to a car rack. To do this, let's kick off with the hitch rack. Also known as the hitch rack, this rack frame is different from some other rack frames in some ways. These rack frames come with their varying protective mechanisms. However, you should not solely rely on them. In light of this, you should get your U-locks, cables, and padlocks. You can never get enough of these items. The more of them you have, the safer your bike will be. You should not only be concerned about the safety of your bike. The rack is as well important. The hitch rack frame cost more than other frames. Bearing this in mind, the protection should extend to the rack itself. To do this, we suggest you get no less than 2 U-lock, 4 padlocks, bagged chain, cuff, and a couple of cables. Many users only use cables as the external protective tool. This option alone would not make your bike secure from thieves. All the thief needs to do is saw through the cable. However, using the right kind of padlock will make this an impossible task. In securing the bike and hitch rack, pay attention to strategic points that could be removed. For instance, secure the part of the wheel near the bike's frame to the rack. Also, secure the rack to the main tow bar of the car. Crisscross the chain around various parts of the bike. Then use the padlocks to tighten those spots. You can use the cuffs to secure the bike frame to the main frame of the rack. Up next, let's talk about how to lock a bike to a roof rack. First, you need to consider your safety. We know you are committed to protecting your bike, nonetheless, there is something more important than that. In that bid to secure the bike, make sure you are not at the receiving end. How do you go about this? Especially if you use an SUV, we strongly advise that you use a step ladder. Many users stand on their front door's frame to do this. This position is risky and makes you vulnerable to falling off with the bike. Also, make use of a head helmet. This protects you in the worst-case scenario. While this does not apply to all brands, most brands have the option of opening and closing a particular lever. When open, one end of this lever houses the wheel at the front. Also, the other end houses the back wheel. After use, depending on the product, a pin is pushed, or screw removed to allow unfolding. After unfolding the lever to accommodate the bike, go for the bike. Grab the part of the bike's frame near the 2 wheels and lift it. Use the step ladder as you position the bike on the 2 open spots designed to hold them. For the front part, there is another metal lever designed to secure it effectively. After lifting it to proximity with the wheel at the front, use the screw or any provision to tighten it as much as possible. However, do not over-tighten it. For the back wheels, most brands install straps that can be used to fasten the tire and wheel to the rack. Next, you use the lock. Pass it through the rack, front wheel, and frame of the bike. After closing them together, use the key lock to seal the deal. To lock a bike to the roof rack, you can still make use of other protective items. Items such as the cuffs, U-lock, cables, chain, and padlocks could be used. You should use the chain to secure various parts of the bike to the rack. Use the padlock to make theft an impossible task. Also, the U-lock could be used to secure the wheel at the front to the rack. This is simply the first part of the video. For more details on this subject, please check out the second part. If you've enjoyed this video, click the subscribe button below and hit the notification bell so you'll know once we post a new video. Also, drop a comment below so we can know your thoughts. Finally, don't forget to check the description below for more details and visit our site www.zimcarcarriers.com for more awesome car carrier content like this.